Unconditional love to all life everywhere. I'm Olo, Thothio, code in the cosmos, sending the heart, love, and energy. So today's topic is righteousness and justice. My intention with this video is to reveal the difference between right and righteousness and the difference between justice and injustice. A mantra to start out would be, I know it is righteous to feel love in this moment. I know it is righteous to feel love in this moment. I know it is righteous to feel love in this moment. You can add forever God to the end of it if you wish. I know it is righteous to feel love in this moment, forever God. Just repeat that throughout the day, and I promise that you will feel love, and you will, if you are willing, if you have no resistance to it, you will feel a lot of joy and a lot of fulfillment and happiness and peace and love. That's one of my blessings for you guys today. I hope you guys take me up on that and start practicing mantras, because they're very powerful for reaching peace and that awareness of love's presence. The difference between right and righteous is that right is of the world. So it could be like a scenario where, two scientists are asking the question of what is right in this certain scenario. And one could be right and one could be wrong. And they're trying to prove each other wrong and be the one that's right. This is of the world and this is not of spirit. What righteousness is just to eliminate the conflict and the battle between these two scientists and just love each other in the moment. Beyond being right, obviously one person has to be right and one person will be wrong, and that's okay to accept, and not to shame the person that's wrong and not to glorify the person that's right, because they're both equal, and that's the principle of spirituality and truth. So I have a quote for you guys about the difference between right and righteousness, and I would like to share that with you. It's a page long that I wrote it down, and this is it. Maybe I'll place it here. Okay. The title is Love Over Being Right by Thoth. Being right is not an accomplishment and nothing to be proud of. It is one small way to feel temporary peace and fulfillment through perception, though if being right is your goal, you are not achieving anything. Being right in of itself is of the world and therefore illusion, because it is not real. Being aware of love's presence, on the other hand, is a great accomplishment indeed, for it transcends the world of illusion completely. Awareness of love is far beyond simply being right, because it doesn't defend when its righteousness is questioned, nor does it attack, thus teaching through knowledge the way to peace. Love cannot be explained or taught, but peace is the means to becoming aware of love. When all you do on the level of form is generated from awareness of love, all of your words, actions, and so on are righteous beyond the laws of this illusory world. Being right does not matter and can lead to conflict, but being aware of what all is, love, is what matters and transcends the right of this world into a heavenly righteousness. For it gives the spark within others space to grow into a beautiful inferno of love. This is because love leads by example, And who is not attracted to wielding the glory of the great rays of heaven? Love is the goal, not being right. So I hope you guys understand and really soak that in. You could watch that part again if you want to hear it again. But yeah, that's the difference between right and righteousness. Righteousness is, in this context, being aware of love and sharing whatever love has to share. It's eliminating the conflict of right and wrong. It's beyond duality. That is righteousness. And then the next topic is justice. And I just wanted to say that we have some misconceptions about what justice actually is on this planet. And I wanted to clear that up and help you understand with compassion and love what justice truly is. The law of love. So the law of love is that whenever someone commits a crime, whenever someone does something bad or evil, or even when someone believes in illusions, because that's where suffering, evil, and hatred and all those things are generated from, is a belief in separation. I wanted to say that there is a sense from some of us that, or most of us actually, that we feel guilty. We feel like we should be punished. And this is the reason why, is because we have a unconscious thought in our mind that we abandoned God to be in this separated illusion world, and we feel guilty for abandoning and leaving God, though God never abandoned us, and he gave us a way home, and that's our guidance system, which I talk about in some of my videos. So there's an unconscious guilt that we feel for living in this separated reality that's not real. And all of what we do in this world can either reflect the Holy Spirit or spirit or love, or it can reflect the opposite of that, which is born of this guilt, this fear, this hatred, this guilt, this shame. So when your actions are born of love, you are being just, and when you are and righteous, and when you are when your actions are born of the ego, fear, guilt, hate, and shame, or any of these manifestations or thoughts, beliefs, then you are unjust and you are in the realm of right and wrong, or duality. So the law of love, I'll say again, is when someone commits a crime, to love that person and to love the spirit in them, for it is innocent, and their true self is innocent and in heaven and is heaven, and is love. So anything that people do that is a crime, if they commit a crime, it's a call for love. It's not an expression of love, of course, if it is a true crime, you know, as far as spirit is concerned. If it's someone going on off the tracks and going the wrong way, away from love, then that's a call for love, and that person needs to be loved in order to transform and be a being of love, of course. So this just makes sense. It's logical. So the law of love is to love when someone has done something wrong. It is to show love to them. So I wanted to use the example of some of the tribes around the world, the indigenous tribes. And what they do is when someone commits a crime or thinks an evil thought or anything like that, does something bad, the tribe will gather around that person and give them a group hug and tell them that they're loved and that they love them until that person feels loved and makes the transformation. So this is something that does work. And it's because every wrongdoing is a call for love. It's not a expression of love, and it's not a call for suffering or punishment either. It's really a call for love, because that's a true perception on how to see it. I'm not sure what else to say about that, but I wanted to bring up some examples in our society of what could be justice and everything. So I wanted to use the example of jail. If someone goes to jail or prison, say for rape or murder, doesn't matter really what it is. If that person has done something that harmed someone in a physical way, or even some subtler things, maybe people should go behind bars. This is a true thing. But they shouldn't be left alone with that mentality. They should have someone in there that's a friend that does not support their mentality, their psychopath mentality, and they should instead have a person that supports their growth into love, into awareness of love's presence. So they should have some sort of therapist at least, or someone that is not afraid, someone that is not guilty, someone that has practiced for advanced forgiveness and sees the innocence of that murderer or rapist and forgives them, as far as, removing the bitterness within themselves towards that person, towards that act, towards that piece of themselves, because we are all one. This is true. So I feel that if someone goes to jail, they need some sort of help. They need a friend to help them transform. It does not support their evil, but supports their growth into being peaceful, into being aware of love's presence as the final goal. Also, I want to say that if someone is let out of prison, it should be a matter of transformation, a matter of if that person has transformed. If they're going to do that act again, it doesn't matter how long they're going to be in there. I feel that if they're going to go and shoot up a shopping mall first thing once they get out of jail, they shouldn't be let out. And this is a loving act for all of the rest of humanity, and it's a loving thing for this person to be in a place with a friend where they can transform and be supported to be aware of love and be supported by this friend that loves them and understands what they've been through and just lets them vent, lets them do whatever they wish until they begin to listen to the teachings of how peace is reached. When that person has reached some level of peace and has practiced forgiveness in some way and has made a transformation enough that they will not hurt someone else, they should be let out right away. How do we know when someone has transformed? Well, that's a tricky thing. So really, we do have the resources to know this kind of thing. There's lie detectors. There's people that can tell when you're lying or whatever, or whatever, from your facial expressions or clenching your throat or swallowing at some nervous time or something. So we could ask that person on a lie detector, are you going to hurt more people? And if they are, then don't let them out. And if they aren't, then let them out. And maybe that person just needs to be in jail for one night, and then they transform, and then you can let them out. If they transformed, and if they're going to say sorry to that person that they hurt, or if they're going to make it up to those people that, the families of who they killed or something, if they made a transformation, then let them out. I'm not saying that it's going to happen overnight. It's very, very slim chance that would happen overnight. But if there is a transformation, that is when that person should be set free again. And there's levels and subtleties to this sort of thing as well. The jail is not a punishment, just so you know. Being behind bars is not a punishment. It's just a reflection of their own actions. That's simply what it is. It's not to hurt them or to make them suffer. It's to give them a space where they cannot hurt themselves, because they are hurting themselves when they hurt others, because others are them, because we are all one. We are one. There's one of us. One spirit that moves through all things. And this is what rapists and murderers do not know, of course. It's simple to see. It's logic, right? The logic of the Holy Spirit. And I wanted to talk about police or cops and if they are righteous. Well, this is like a subtlety that I could speak about. Like, for example, speeding tickets or whatever. I have come to realize that this can be a righteous thing, but there isn't really a system to promote transformation rather than just punishment and taking people's money. So that's kind of the wrong thing in this justice system. Maybe it does work to some extent, but if someone has a shitload of money or a lot of money, then they'll probably just speed more and not care and not make a transformation. I'm not going to say what this is, because we're all smart enough to figure this out. What is the way that we could transform someone from going, 200 miles an hour or 200 kilometers an hour down the highway, to transform them to going 100, what the speed limit is, or 10 over the speed limit? I feel like that's fine too. We need to find a way to transform these people and keep an eye on them or something, because they're calling for love if they're putting people at risk, right? And putting themselves at risk and putting, the one is never at risk though. The one spirit cannot be threatened. I'm not telling you to go and do dumb stuff. I'm telling you to respond to the images of the world with righteousness and a just mentality. Because that will make you feel good, and that will make you awaken from this dream into the realization of heaven, or the presence of heaven, I should say. So, cops, are what they're doing righteous? This is a question that you should ask yourself and reflect on, and try to find a solution, and maybe send a letter to someone that is in control of that kind of stuff and say, I found a better way for transformation to happen on the level of people driving too fast or something. And you could send a letter to the police station or something, maybe. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I should be doing this. But yeah, I just feel like we can create solutions for the crime that's in a wiser way and a more loving way and a way that promotes transformation in a deeper sense. I wanted to talk about self-respect and distancing yourself from others. So if someone's treating you bad, if they're even calling you names or verbally abusing you, or even just talking a little negatively all the time, you can distance yourself from that person for self-respect and still forgive them. Forgiveness does not mean that you invite the people that hurt you over for tea and you try and be friends with them and you surround yourself with that person all the time. That's not what it means at all. Forgiveness means that you see the heavenly innocence shining through that person, and that removes your bitterness from within yourself, which is why we forgive, is to not be the victim of what that person did to us, not be the victim of this world, of separation, of guilt, of shame, of fear, of hate, of the ego, of projection, for example. So I wanted to say, it's not a punishment to distance yourself from someone or to put someone in jail. It's just a reflection of their own choice to be evil or having bad behavior. It's just a reflection. It's karma. It's how it works, you know? So it's not a punishment. It's just that they need love in order to transform. So yeah, self-respect is to distance yourself from people at times. If that person is going to hurt you, do not invite them for tea. Just remove the bitterness within yourself and don't support whatever projections they have onto you. Just forgive them and move on and distance yourself from that person if they're going to do it again. If there has been transformation in that person, then you can hang out with them again, and then you can have a relationship again, or a friendship, or whatever you want to call it. But at times we do have to distance ourselves from others as a way of self-respect. And it's not abandonment, it's not a negative thing. It's just that if someone isn't treating you right, you don't deserve to be treated badly, so walk away. I wanted to talk about negative entities and evil. So I've had experiences with negative entities, and I've realized that they feed off fear, they feed off anger, they feed off all these negative emotions born from the ego. And I wanted to use this as kind of just a metaphor for everything, for justice. A negative entity can be dealt with if it's, you know, people that hear voices, for example. They could hear a terrible voice of someone that's like yelling at them. Like, this is what I experienced, is that a voice was yelling at me, telling me to, you know, do terrible things, basically. I identified that as a negative entity and something that I'm not, because I was hearing a voice that I would never say any of those things. And it was also seemed as if it was coming from an external source, which was not me. And I identified that as a piece of myself that I needed to heal within myself. That was a reflection of something I needed to heal within myself because it came up into my experience. I know that I chose that. But what I chose to do is not to punish this being, not to attack it, and not to defend. This is what is very powerful for transforming these beings. And what I did, I got into kind of a meditative state, into a trance, and I did this mudra. I'm not sure why, that's just what I was guided to do by spirit, by the angels. And you see, like, I'm just like this, and I started shaking, and I was just like, I need to get this negative entity away from me, out of my consciousness and all that. So I sent it. This is going to sound really far out for you guys, but what I did with my mind, and this is a metaphor, right? This is something that really happened to me, and some of you might not believe in this stuff. You might think I'm crazy, and that's just all. You're free to think what you want of me, but I suggest that you choose the thoughts of me. I suggest that you choose your thoughts of me wisely so that you feel peaceful, at least, and there is no conflict in your mind about me. So don't project. Just take it with a grain of salt. So I did this mudra, and with my mind, I intended to send this being to another place. I'll just call it that. A place where it cannot hurt anyone and it can transform. That's where I sent it. It does not need to be punished. It does not need to be anything like that. All it needs is a place that is loved where it cannot hurt anyone. And that's a metaphor for justice in this world. Really, the evil, powers that be on our planet, should be in a place where they can't hurt anyone, and they should be in a place where they can transform. And so I hope that gives you guys some insight on what justice is. I wrote down above the battleground. So spirit is above the battleground, and you are above the battleground because you are spirit and we are all one. To be above the battleground is wisdom, because it sees innocence in everything all the time, no matter what. So it is not that its peace of mind gets taken away by these external experiences, because this world is external to spirit. It is not true, it is not real, it is illusion, and that is what forgiveness is to recognize that. Or at least what part of forgiveness is. So being above the battleground means seeing the innocence, not attacking, not defending, but just identifying with spirit. This is the spiritual concept. This is not talking about the justice of certain actions of the world. I'm just talking about your mind should be in the peace of God while any experience happens to you, so that you can be peaceful. And that's what above the battleground means from A Course in Miracles, which I've read for a little while now. A couple years on and off. I don't know if it matters, but I do recommend reading A Course in Miracles, Disappearance of the Universe, Jesus, My Autobiography. All of these books are super amazing and filled with blessings and amazing teachings. I wanted to talk about silent protest, because if we want change on this planet, we can't necessarily go up to the richest people on the planet and tell them to feed the hungry. We can't go up to uh, a big battle and put all of those army soldiers in jail until they transform. We can't do that because that's just seen as an attack, right? And I guess we do have the power to do things like a silent protest, though. And you can have a sign if you wish, but just be silent. And this was done on Earth recently, actually. I forget what country. It doesn't really matter. It's irrelevant which country it was for the purpose of this talk. But it was amazing. Really, instead of protesting with, aggression and like trying to get your way and all of that, it was just silent. And there was no riot, there was no conflict. There was just people standing in the street silently. And this made a big change, I feel, in the conscious and unconscious mind of all of the oppressing forces in that country. So I feel that it's powerful to do a silent protest, and it doesn't even need to be silent, but it needs to be non-violent. So I feel like silence is non-violent, just stillness and silence is non-violent, and even stillness and silence is of spirit in a way, if you know what I mean. So there is no attack or defense in this protest. I wanted to talk about free will and transformation. So I feel that we should always give people a choice to be bad or good. Good being spirit and righteousness, and bad being injustice and all of that. So we should always give them the choice. And really the magical thing about this is that when you do give them a choice, it's like kind of a scenario where say someone is in prison and they have that friend that's always waiting for them to transform, but never telling them you have to transform. They should be the ones saying to this person behind bars, they should be saying, you have a choice. You can stay in here and be wrong about everything, or you can transform and be at peace and be free. And they should always have that choice. And the magical thing I was talking about is that when that choice is given and offered up, there is a higher chance that they will choose love. And this is why. Because if something is forced on someone, it is taken as an attack. The ego takes that as an attack. Even if it is a loving offering, that can be an attack if it's forced on someone. So, always give people a choice. Never try to convert them to your spirituality and convert them to love. Just offer up the choice and be silently waiting patiently. This is the way of the Tao. This is the way of spirit. Is to wait patiently for everyone to return to their natural state, which is enlightenment, which is joy, which is peace, which is love, which is wisdom. So I just wanted to touch upon this once more and just say, to remind you that everything is a call for love or an expression of love. So there are many expressions of love. I feel that this is an expression of love. As far as how I feel love for you guys. That's why I made this video. I'm not trying to claim that I love or trying to claim something, because that's kind of what the ego does, and I'm not attached to these worldly things and these concepts of my body being good. I just feel that spirit is who I am, and spirit is love, and I'm channeling spirit. And again, I'm not trying to claim that, it's just kind of true. Some of you might think I'm arrogant for this, but really, I'm trying to surrender to spirit and make this video under the guidance of spirit, and remove my arrogance, which, by the way, arrogance is to believe that your story, your self-concept of separation is better than God's vision for you, God's will for you. And it is not arrogant to be with God's will, because it is the perfect will, the perfect vision. If you're in alignment with God, if you feel the peace of God, if you feel the love of God, then, you know, that's righteous. And honestly, I kind of lost my train of thought there, but it's okay. I like to do that, you know, not on purpose. I didn't do that on purpose, lose my train of thought, but I kind of like when I lose my train of thought, because it teaches the lesson through love that love is graceful, and when it makes mistakes, they're not really a mistake. It's just a path that is going in another loving direction. There's many paths to love, right? Many paths that stem from love, if you think of it in that way. But I remember what I was talking about. I was talking about arrogance, and it is arrogant to think that your self-concept is more important or more real than God's reality of who you truly are. When you embrace who you truly are, which is one with your Creator, one with God, that's not arrogant. That's just love. And that's just true. It's just how it is. And forgiveness is really how we heal our minds from the separation, from arrogance, and surrendering to the Holy Spirit's guidance will guide us to forgive and see innocence in everything. Therefore, be peaceful and see the sins have not occurred, because the world is an illusion, and because heaven is the reality that is always there. I wanted to end this video with another mantra about justice, and it's a simple mantra, really. It's justice is to love all. 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 So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Infinite love and gratitude. I love you all. And unconditional love to all life everywhere. I'm Thoth. I love you all. God is.